Yo, what's up YouTube? This is going to be my last guide in the series. This one will be covering base Vegeta. If you didn't watch the other two, I covered Super Saiyan Blue Goku and I covered Z Broly. I'll have the link to those in the description below. But this will be structured in the same way as I did those videos. So if you already know how his buttons work, what his specials do, all that, you can skip ahead in the video to whatever part you want. You know, I'll have the timestamps in the description and the comment section below. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. So first of all, we're just going to talk about his normals. We're not going to go super in depth. I'm just going to talk about him. So first of all, he does have a 2LO. 7 frame startup, -4. Pretty standard for most 2LOs in the game. Most of them are -4. Nothing crazy. He's got a 5L that's -2. It also doubles as a 4LL, so pretty good. His 5LL is -5. His 5M is -5. 2M -6. 5S, if you're in their face, you're -3. And 5H and 2H are both really minus. You don't really want to use those unless you're going to cancel into one of his specials. Another thing about his Ki Blast is they're I'm pretty sure, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, they're the second fastest Ki Blast in the game, and they're also consecutive Ki Blast. Another one of his ground normals is 2S, and that also goes for 1S. They're not really useful outside of combo fodder, and there's only one real combo I've been able to find with this that works. But you know, if you can find a combo that works with it, this shit is mad cool. But it's mostly used for just like auto timing safe jumps in the corner off of his dive kicks. So keep that in mind. If you do manage to make them block this in a string, you'll be +20, but you're -24 if you don't cover that up properly. So keep that in mind. And since it's Ki Blast, they can guard cancel it, so it's not really worth using. It's more of a gimmick. So his air buttons also are, outside of, you know, his JS, there isn't much to talk about here. So he's got pretty much your box standard JH. Nothing crazy about it. It ain't no Z Broly JH. You know, it's not incredible. The JM, it's alright as an air-to-air. It's a little bit bigger than his JL, but the JL hits at a lower angle, so you're going to be going for his JL a lot more. You can jab super dash with this, so like if they try to raw tag or you're up here, you throw a JS and they try to super dash, you can jab it. It's really hard though, since it isn't really disjointed at all. So his JS, this is probably the reason you're playing him, if not for his mix, is hands down the best Ki Blast in the game. So if you do an instant backdash, let me turn on my input just so you can see how fast I'm doing this. You do an instant backdash Ki Blast, you'll be +20. Another thing you can do is you can super jump on your way up and on your way down and throw 2 Ki Blasts, and it also forms like a little mind game. If you're good at jabbing super dashes, I would say go for this, but if not, you know, use this kind of sparingly, because it kind of becomes a whole mind game of like, am I going to throw the second one? Am I not? Am I going to sit here and wait for you to super dash so I can jab it? Whole lot of stuff. So just keep that in mind. It's almost always better to do this, because most of the time, if they try to preemptively super dash, you can reflect it. So another thing about his JS is if you do what I showed off just now, like instant backdash JS, or as you're coming down, you use it, you'll be +20 if they block it. And paired with his lariats, which I'll talk about later, is really strong. And I'll cover that once I talk about his specials, but just keep that in mind. One more thing about his already incredible JS is that you can hold up and it will go at a really steep angle. This is really good if they're trying to like run under your Ki Blast, right? So like you're sitting here, you're doing super jump up, Ki Blast, and falling down with one. If they try to run under that, you can hold up and it will hit them on their approach. And you can get a full combo off of that too, because of all the hit stun on it. One last thing about his air normals is he has, you know, your Vegeta J2H. So if you want to like kind of stall in the air a little bit, there you go. You can do that. You can like float and just kind of spam this, and you know, it's kind of goofy, but it is like a valid mix up on like your timings when you're trying to land and shit. So if they're just trying to read you're going to come out buttons or something and they try to go for a 2H, you can use this and then land and get a punish on them. Alright, so let's talk about his specials now. So first of all, we're going to cover his lariats. They're called rocket kicks. I just call them lariats because pretty much all the lariats do the same thing. So his light lariat goes about half screen. It's safe on block, and it creates a little RPS between this, and neutral jumping. So it is very strong, and they can just try to super dash you if you try to go for the backdash key blast, but like I said, you can just land and 2H. You can do a lot of stuff. So there is RPS there. This is going to be your go-to block string ender if you're solo. If you have assists, I recommend the medium one, which is medium rocket kick, 21 frames from full screen. It's -9, so it's not safe. Sometimes it's not 21 frames. It's really weird. This move sometimes just is faster on the startup. I'm not sure why, but it isn't safe, but it goes full screen, and if you're like this distance, it might even be better to end with the medium rocket kicks because of the distance it puts between you and your opponent, and it also crosses up. But if you have assists, I highly recommend to end in medium rocket kick because, you know, let me just show the difference here. So if I try to call Z Broly, right, I can get 2H here. Not worth it. But, whoops, let me try that again. See that? I have time to run up and try to meet their approach if I time it correctly, because you spend less time in the air and you can just accelerate faster. So if you're going to do any sort of like block string extensions with your assist, do that, and especially in the corner. But you most definitely do not use this solo in the corner if you intend on just ending your string, because you can get 2M'd by most characters or even 5M'd, and it's just not good. So another thing about his medium rocket kick, which I explained a little bit earlier when I was talking about his JS, is that if they block this full screen, you're plus 20, and that goes really well combined with his medium rocket kick. Sometimes it's 24 frame startup full screen, sometimes it's 22. I'm not sure why. It could just be where I'm like moving forward a pixel. The lowest I've seen it go in training mode is like 21 frames, right? But the only things they can do here is reflect it or they block it, and if you call an assist, you get a whole block string. You're pretty much in for free. So it's extremely powerful. Another thing too is that full screen, this will frame trap jumps. So if they like try to jump away or whatever after blocking this, you'll hit them and get a full combo. So keep that in mind. And on top of being able to gel full screen with his JS with the medium rocket kick, you can also kind of do it from his normal key blast as well. This one, if they try to jump, so if they try to jump, you're plus. See that? Probably not very accurate because he jumped again, but you're definitely plus there. And if they try to mash, you beat that too. They can't 2H, they can't 5M, they can't do none of that. So again, if you make them block key blasts, they kind of have to either bank on a reflect or they hold that, and you can just kind of, you know, you can force them to kind of go for a reflect by just, you know, doing different amounts of key blasts. So it comes like a full screen mix up if they don't have like very good reactions to this. So it's heavy rocket kick. It also goes full screen. teleports behind them, crosses up, does everything the medium rocket kick does, except it also teleports behind them. And paired with assists, this can be like a really strong round start. I like to play him mid, so this actually becomes a very valid round start that I bring up a lot. And that's because it's pretty hard to challenge. So unlike Goku, if he does EX tackle, round start, followed by an assist, if you don't have much block stun on your assists, then you can just get jabbed, even if you try to block. Vegeta's EX rocket kick is the same thing. It's faster and it's safe. Not only is it like safe frame advantage wise, but it also keeps you pretty much where you started, actually a little bit further. So compare the distance here. So let's look at his left shoulder blade. So it's touching the edge of the hourglass there. He goes a little bit further. So, you know, doing that sort of thing, you get a full combo, all that. And on smash hit, you can even combo off it if they do manage to get hit by this with his medium rocket kick. And then you can go into a full combo. In the corner too, it's all right. So if your opponent tries to do anything fake to you, like fake Oki, they hit you for level 3 and they try to go for like a sparking bait or something, and you read they're going to go for that, you can use EX rocket kicks and it's like frame 9 invincible, and you can get a full combo. One last thing about his EX rocket kick is that although the light and the medium rocket kick scale like a medium, the EX rocket kick does not. It scales like a light. So if you do hit them in the corner of that and you try to convert off it, it isn't going to do insane amounts of damage. Well, in base Vegeta terms, it doesn't do a lot of damage compared to his other routes and other tools. So base Vegeta's Deadly Knee Drop, his quarter circle back series of special moves, all give him sliding knockdown. The light one will always give you sliding knockdown, no matter how, well, I shouldn't say no matter how scaled the combo is, but like 99 times out of 100, you'll be able to combo into this with a J2H, and it will almost always work. And Oki isn't the worst either, plus 48 on a back attack. Not only does it enable him to get sliding knockdown anywhere, this goes for every single one of them. It's also safe on block, and there's a bit of RPS around it, just like the rocket kick, the light one specifically. So you can, let me turn on my inputs just so you can see, actually. Okay, so you can hold right, and you'll cross up, and you can go for like a JM here or something, and B+. You can hold back, throw a JS, and you can just neutral jump. So, pretty strong. And on top of that, it is a 27 frame overhead, the light one is, and I'm pretty sure the heavy one is too. Let me switch him to crouch. Don't switch. 26 frame overhead. So it is better than 6M in the sense that it just gives you straight sliding knockdown, but I wouldn't go for it too often because you are able to be 2H unlike a 6M. The heavy one is also 26 frames. Now his medium rocket kick, unlike the light one, is much slower. And by much I mean 3 frames slower on the ground. It doesn't seem like a big deal at first, but in combos, that is a very big deal. The medium rocket kick has enough Oki on it to where you can get base Vegeta's OTG grab pretty much at all times. And that also goes for the heavy one. So if you ever want to end into the OTG grab here, you want to use his medium rocket kick or his EX. And a way for you to always combo into the medium rocket kick without having to spend meter is just saving your smash. So what I mean is just like not using your 2H smash until you're ready to go into the knee drop. Because like if I do this kind of combo, it drops. You can use the heavy one there, but it's the same thing as the medium one, just slightly faster. So if you don't have the bar to spare to go for the EX, just save your smash and go for the medium. So last thing about his Deadly Knee Drop is the heavy one has the same Oki and knockdown as his medium one with the startup of the light one. So like I showed off literally in the last example, is that the medium one drops on those kind of scaled combos if you don't keep your smash. The heavy one will always, well, just like the light one, 99 times out of 10 will connect and give you SKD. And since it has the same Oki as the medium one, you can get the OTG grab. Base Vegeta's quarter circle forward S, his destructor disc. It is a beam property move, meaning it will beat Ki Blast. And on top of that, you can angle it upwards to cover a much steeper angle, and this is really only worth it in like when you're near the corner, I guess. It's not really useful, but the regular one will catch them trying to up back, and if you hold down, you will catch them if they're standing full screen. You can also make this jump to a vanish. It is a little bit difficult. Let me see if I could try. After guarding. Try one more time. There you go. You have to really like be on your reactions to be able to get that, because if you do it even like, so it's got like 5 hits on it. If you do it like a hit late, you more than likely won't be able to gel that. So keep that in mind. Another thing too is that it gives you 50-50s anywhere on the screen, given you have the right assists. My assists aren't necessarily the best for him because they have a lot of pushback on them. See? Kind of push them out of the way. So the way you do this is you just destructor disc, call an assist, and then you can go for 2L low, or you can instant air dash JL. Now, if your assists have a lot of pushback, the only real thing you can get mid-screen is a JM and 2M mix-up. JM for high, 2M for low. And it is more than likely going to be reflected unless you have a lot of block stun. It isn't exactly the best mix you can do. It's, if you have the assist, definitely try to go for the 2L low mix up instead. However, in the corner, this doesn't really matter. Not really a problem. So keep that in mind. One last thing I forgot to mention is that if you don't angle at all, you can get a tricky little cross up. Here, it's kind of hard to do. You got to be fairly fast. Like right here, it's a little bit hard timing wise. There you go. So yeah, you can get that off of the upwards angle too, since it puts you in the air higher. Like I showed off earlier, you can angle the destructor disc upwards and downwards, and this is, I wouldn't say it's more useful. It might be a little bit trickier to see if your timing's good compared to just doing it normally, but it also makes the cross up easier. But if you do the cross up, you're going to more than likely have to use his JS, and that requires some pretty good timing for either cross up. And also you can go for the low angle destructo disc, and it can make your mix even harder to detect. So like it makes going for the high option there really scary, and the low option there really scary. So the last special we're going to talk about on Base Vegeta is his 214S, and it's this little OTG grab. So it is a command grab. So if, like you saw, I have them set to blocking. If they're standing, they'll get grabbed, and it's 16 frames, so it's technically unreactable. But if they're crouching, it doesn't work. So pretty useless for that kind of mix. So I wouldn't recommend ever doing it. But what it does allow you to do is, if they're crouching, and let me set them to don't swap, it does enable you to get combos off of these. See? Its most notable use, however, is in letting your supers deal more damage and have better Okis. So let me just go ahead and show what his supers look like before and after. So his level 1, 23% if we round up. Not the craziest, and that's just raw too. Go in the grab, 25%. So we got a whole 2%, and that 2% is all the time. I think scaled this super does like 7%. If you'd use the grab, that goes up to 9%. It becomes one of the most damaging level 1s in the game. Even catches up to some level 2s, like Beerus' level 2. It almost catches up to that. So let's talk about his level 3 with the grab now. So without the grab, it's 42% and 27 frames of advantage. So if you use the grab, you go from 27 frames of advantage all the way to 43. So that's almost a 20 frame improvement. That enables you to do a lot of shit, and I'll talk about that later on. The damage looks like it went down, but trust me, in a scaled combo, it doesn't. I don't know why the damage scaling works like that to where it does less damage. I guess because the grab counts as a physical hit. I'm not sure. But in a scale combo, it will enable you to do more damage. One more thing about his supers is that his level 1 will give you sliding knockdown. And this goes for if you HC into him, or if you use it in a combo and you don't have a way to do this, you can use it as a way to get SKD. You can get a sweet little safe jump. You just do a quick IADJH as soon as you land, and it's safe jumps. So his Blockstrings aren't really crazy. Like I showed off earlier, his buttons aren't exactly the best for stagger pressure. What you're mainly looking for here is you're just wanting to stagger your buttons, you know, stagger your 5L a lot since it's 4L. I don't know, I keep accidentally pressing 5H trying to use the dash macro, but you know, you don't really want to stagger. God forbid, don't really try to stagger his to him unless you have the range to do it. But he can't do much. Once you step into your mediums, you're kind of committed to the mediums, except for like placing a little frame trap here, like delaying your buttons. It's a little bit hard. Well, you get the point. But since his 5S is so good, you can also do the 5S 5H mix up. And if you don't know what that is, the whole thing is you can, if I try to restart pressure, you can super dash and hit me. If I go for the 5H, it counter hits your super dash. So there's a little bit of RPS there. It also baits out a reflect. So if you're mashing reflect in a block string, it forces it out. Your main goal when you're doing pressure with this character is to just sneak in Destructo Disc. And if you don't stagger your buttons correctly, or you're just not putting them in the right places, you can get mashed on and pretty much explode for using Destructo Disc. See that? So your whole goal here, you know, you want to frame trap your strings, and if you want to force them to respect you, right? So if they're not respecting you, you start frame trapping, you force them to respect you. Once they start respecting you, you can start going for mix. But the whole plan here is to just get Destructo Disc and just 50-50 him. So it's neutral for the most part, and I kind of covered it for the most part when I was going over his specials and the buttons. Is you're just doing a whole lot of this. You're always looking for super dash or beam like moves, but these will most of the time shut down beams if they attempt them. So you're just going to be like really aggressive. You're using approaching JS, cross ups, you know. You're just kind of going ham with these key blasts because they're so good. So that's the whole plan. You know, you make them block this, if I can do it, into this, and then you call an assist. Boom. If they don't reflect it, you're in, and you can start mixing right away. Alright, so his combos for the most part, we're just going to go over the B&B first. We're not going to get crazy. So he has the universal Saiyan B&B, right? So you do 2M, 5M, medium lot, 2H, medium lot, 2H, lot. Boom. That's a combo. His is slightly different. The only thing you change is instead of the end, instead of mashing lot, you just do lot 2H into lot rocket kick. And the way that works, or the way that looks, is like this. There you go. And if you want to go into his OTG grab into level 3, then you use the EX. Off of 5H2, you don't really get anything crazy, and this goes for 2H as well. So 2H, that's the best you're going to get solo. So don't expect anything wild out of that. Now, off of 5H, he doesn't have a re-jump. He probably does, but it's way too difficult. He doesn't have the universal re-jump. So the best you're going to get is that, if you don't have assists available. So the whole 5S 5H mix-up isn't really as valuable damage-wise mid-screen, although I would still almost always go for it if you can, because it's just really strong to have. In the corner, he has the same combos mid-screen, so I'm not going to bother showing those off again. Now we're going to transition into his loops, and this is where his damage really explodes. Like, he starts making you explode for even the tiniest mistakes or just guessing wrong. So we're going to start with the easiest one, work our way up to the hardest one, well, the quote-unquote hardest one. And like I said, we're going to start with his 5H loops. They're the easiest ones, and these are fairly consistent. You can do them in lag as well, so this is really useful to know even online. It's still even more damage than the B&B. So the way you do this, you just 5H, medium S, 5L, 5H, medium S, 5L, 5H, over and over. Alright. I think you only get 3 loops? Let me count. Yeah, so you only get 3 loops off of this, so don't try to do any more. And this is off a 5H starter too, so it might be even less off a lot. So I would just lab that out and see. I don't use these, so I can't give you a concrete answer. These loops are relatively useless for the most part, and they're the least commonly used out of them. So you'll just have to figure that on your own. The way you end this combo though is, so you hit this, you just go into auto combo, into medium drop. And the auto combo will always give you the medium one. So his quote-unquote second hardest loops, I think these are the hardest, me personally, are his J2H loops. And the way you go into these is, if you hit a 2M starter, you just go medium, J2H. There you go. Combo notation will be on screen. And you want to end in the auto combo starter so that you can... Well, if you're going to dump bar, of course, you want to end in the auto combo starter, because that also will give you the OTG grab. It has about the same OP as this and the EX. So keep that in mind. It's not really worth going for the light one there, since you keep your smash. Now, how many reps you get depends on your starter. If you do a medium starter, right, you get 4 reps. If you're doing a light starter, you get 3. So just cut one out. But these are the most common loops. You get these off of DR, you get these off of almost any touch, and if you just have like a slightly like out of the corner combo, right, like right here, you can sort of do them here too. Now the way you do that combo is, so first of all, you want to instantly super dash and then hit JM. There's no delays here. Medium, and then go straight into JS. So there's no timing there. You just automatically just go into super dash, JM, JS. There's no timing. Now where it gets tricky is timing your lots. So let me turn on my inputs. There's a bit of a rhythm to it. So it's going to take some practice to get used to this. Since most combos in this game, you know, you're just like, oh, you just go, you press the buttons, right? But his, you have to be slow and methodical about your button presses. And the rhythm is kind of like lot, S, lot, S, lot, S, right? There's a little bit of a delay between the first and the second lot, and that's because you need the auto combo carry to carry you upwards so that you can get the loops. If you do it too fast, then the key blast will send them too low. Not too low. I didn't mean to say too low. I meant to say you'll be too low to combo afterwards. And there are ways around that. So like if you notice a little bit that you did it too fast, You know, you can just go straight into J2H and then combo into this if your reactions are fast enough. So it isn't the end of the world if you end up dropping one of the loops or two of them, as long as you can react to yourself dropping it and continue the combo. One more thing I almost forgot to mention is that off of his 2H, he actually gets 6 reps of loops. And this is not really going to come up that often and doesn't do the most damage. It's mostly just for meter gain since Ki Blast built so much meter. But it's the same as his J2H loops. The only thing is, you know, you're not doing 2M, 5M, and all that. You're just going straight into 2H. It still ends in the auto combo ender, meaning you can go for his OTG grab and go into his level 3 or his level 1 if you're going to kill. So the last of his loops is the 2 through 6M loops, and these are the ones you want to learn. These are the ones that do the most damage. So the J2H loops, they did 49%. The 5H loops, they also did 49%. This one gives you like a whole extra 5% of damage. And these ones, like I said, they're supposedly the hardest. I actually find these easier to do than the J2H loops. But the way you start these is you go 5M, 2M, 2 through 6M. You always want to go into 2 through 6M. And if you start with 2M, do 2M, 5M, JM, JS, into medium rocket kick. And the combo, the way you start this is you delay 5M, and you keep this in mind. So this is actually fairly important. If you do it too late, you see how I kind of push myself into the corner? At the end, you will drop the auto combo 9 times out of 10. What you want to do is wait a little bit, and you see how I kind of got pushed out of the corner by Goku? That's what you're looking for. So if you hit them at that time, then you're good to go. It's not the end of the world if you didn't though, and I'll show why after I just show myself doing them. So all you gotta do, 5M, JM, JL, jump cancel, JM, JS. There's no timing, there's no delays, so you just go straight into those buttons. Right, so after that you have to delay a lot before you do lot S. There's also no delays there. As soon as you hit JS, you wait, you do a lot S. Right. And you're just going to do another rep of those. The only difference this time is you're going to spam lot again, delay JS. And what you do from here depends on if you have assists or not. If you don't have assists, if you delay your JS right and you let them fall the right hot at the beginning, you go straight into the auto combo. See that the auto combo drops if you don't delay enough. There you go. And just like with the previous combo, the 5H loops, you can go into his 214S and go into your supers if you want to. If you don't, then you can just keep the Yoki, and I'll talk about a safe jump you get off of the medium rocket kick as well, or the medium deadly knee drop, I mean. But either way, it's a win-win. You get really good Oki either way. And this also works from his 2 through 6H too. So the route is slightly different. You're just going to add a 2M in at the very beginning instead of just delaying and going into 5M and then starting it. But it is pretty scaled because it's technically a lot starter, but it's the same combo. With assists, you can easily get like 60% off of that solo. So that combo is pretty versatile where it's solo to the ground. You can pretty much use any assist and get any kind of extension you want. What your main goal here is though, is you want to just end in medium drop or JDR if you can, because both of those have the Oki you need to go for this grab. Now these loops, like I said, they're pretty versatile. So even if you're a little bit out of the corner, like right here, you can still go for it. I've dropped it because my timing's bad, but you get the point. Most of the time, you can get these as long as you use the 236M starter. You can also get these off 5H, which is why I said 5H is the least commonly used out of them. So what you do off 5H is the following. The damage here isn't as good as getting it off 236M, but it's still insane damage off of just a raw 5H like that, right? So, and on top of that, you're building like a bar and a half. I'm gonna have to review the footage and see, but yeah, you pretty much you're gonna two-touch every time if you can do these loops consistently. So one of the last things here about his combos is after Vanish, what you do depends on what you want to do. So, right, if you want to get the OTG grab for better Oki on your level 3 or just more damage on your level 1, then your post-Vanish extension is just going to be dash up, 5LL. You're going to whiff the 5L, if I can do it here. There you go. Medium dive kick, and then boom. Now, if you want to save meter and you're not sure if a level 1 will kill, right, then you just do 2M, 5M. Right, you can do that, or you can just do this. There you go. So the last combo he gets, and this is more so, so the last combo he gets, and this is in the corner only. Midscreen, he gets the same combo as his 2H, and this is off of his DR. But in the corner, his DR gives him a little bit more damage than most characters do off the DRs, but a lot more meter. So all you gotta do is it's the same as the J2H loops. Only difference is instead of starting with Super Dash and Medium S, you're going to do Light S since you're so high up. One last thing too is that if you attempt to do these, you want to go for the 27 hit DR. The 27 hit DR allows you to go for 4 loops. If you do 30 hits, which means you held it the entire time, you didn't let go at the end at all, you only get 3 loops. The combo will drop if you try to do any more. If you do 20, you're not getting any more loops, and you're doing less damage, and you're getting less meter. So if you can help it, try to get 27 hits every time. It's not even that difficult. Look at that, 2 bars off a DR. That is pretty crazy. And most of the time, that's enough to kill, given that you're able, you're going to be able to get this grab and then get like 9% off of his level 1 on top of your DHCs too. As for Safejumps, they're, bog standard Safejumps. So off of a JDR, he gets the same thing as everyone else, where you just backdash, jump forward, JH. Nothing crazy there. If you manage to hit the EX rock kick, or use this, or not rock kick, deadly knee drop in your combo, or you do the medium one, your safe jump in the corner, J2S, and that automatically times you a IDJH safe jump, and it's fairly meaty. And lastly is that anytime you can go for a safe jump, and this is just like Goku, instead of doing JH or whatever, you can go for JS. And if they try to reflect, you'll still be in their face and still be plus. So let me go ahead and show that off real quick. See that I'm still +7. So if they want to get out of that situation, they do have to double reflect. The counterplay to this, however, is fairly simple. They just up tech and super dash. So it's not the best in the world. It's really only something you want to do if you notice they're reflecting on wake up a lot. And this is pretty good at shutting that down, right? So, and it's really scary to double reflect too, because if they get baited, then they might just even die off of that. So as for his level 3, so let me make sure they're not blocking. Okay. So if you use a raw, right, and this is going to be like if you DHC or you mash on a string, the best you get is IAD safe jump. Nothing crazy. However, if you are using it off of his OTG grab, like I showed off earlier, it gives you extra Oki. That gives you enough time to go for some insane mix-ups. And I'm going to just start with the corner, since this is the most simple. So there's two ways you can do his mix, and I'll show both. So the first is J2H, and don't do it as high as I did. You want to do it about like this high. And what that lets you do is go for an IED overhead or fall and go low. And this is pretty tight timing. If you don't do this right, you are very susceptible to getting 2H. So if you're going to do it this way, make sure to practice this a lot. But this is really tight timing in the corner. The other way you can do it is with a super jump float. So the way you do it is you just super jump and you IED instant. And going for the low, I'm on a hitbox, so sometimes I get super dash because I'm bad. But yeah, you can float, go high, or you can fast fall, whoops, or you can fast fall, go low. And the way you want to time that is, so the screen's black, you wait until it fades into white, and then you super jump. Right, so I did it too early there, and my attack just whiffed. So if they don't get hit at all, that means you timed it wrong. But if you time it right, and let me just wait here, and if you time it correctly, that will meet 2Hs. So keep in mind that if you're going to do that, and this goes for mid-screen too, it's the same timing. If you're going to do it, wait until the screen starts to fade back in before you super jump. Otherwise, your attacks will whiff. Mid-screen, it gets a whole lot cheaper, and it enables him to go for a 4-way mix-up, super jump float high on both sides and fast fall low on both sides. The cross-up low is fake, and I will explain why after I go over the overheads on both sides and the same side low. So the way you want to do this is fairly easy. You wait until it fades in, and you float, and you keep holding forward. So let me turn on my inputs so you can see this. So you keep holding forward, and you'll go behind them, and you can get the high. And there is better ways to time that, right? So like you can hold back and slightly just kind of float. It looks like you're going to cross up if they're trying to react to it. Now there's a lot of tricky ways you can do this. Think of it kind of like 21's level 3 mix in that sort of sense. If you want to stay same side, all you gotta do is start holding back as soon as you can. Do that up back as soon as you can, you'll get the high. And then of course, if you want to go low, all you gotta do is fast fall low. As for the cross-up low, you do have to time your super jump a little differently. And they can, I guess if they're really looking for it, if they're aware of how this is done, they can look for this. The way you do it is you don't wait, and you just instantly super jump. You instantly super jump IED, and you'll cross up every time. There you go. There are ways around that. So like a tighter timing would be like you super jump a little bit higher and then IED over, but it can be fairly inconsistent. It's all like human error, right? This way you just IED as soon as you can, and you can get the high on both sides, the low same side. Or if you want to cross up, you just IED instantly, right? Because the whole reason you can't do that in the first place, if you wait, when they stand up, their hitbox will, or their hurtbox rather, will block you from crossing up. So one of the many ways you can use assist, and he benefits greatly from assist, as you'll see the more I go on about it in this section, is that his damage starts to go up quite considerably, and he starts to get a lot of shit he wouldn't get normally. So one of the many things you can do is, so like let's say you use your smash, right? You hit them with a 5H and you don't have enough bar to go into the EX and get the level 3. One of the things you can do is use an assist to get the medium. There you go. Fairly simple. You can get pretty creative with it, right? Off of 2H, you know, you can go into this sort of thing. And you can optimize that way more. That was just like off the top of my head, right? But off of 2H, you can go into medium rocket kick or EX and like really cash out on your damage there if you really optimize that and you have both assists. Another thing about assists with base Vegeta is that these loops, the 236M loops, start to do insane amounts of damage. So before, I think the max it got up to there was like 49.9%. Watch how much damage it does with assists. Look at that. If you decide to reset them with a light rocket kick, you get 59% no meter spent. And obviously, you know, if you dump bar, you can easily kill them. That'll be like 70% with supers, since you build so much meter doing that as well. The only real difference here is that when you're extending with assists, instead of ending in the auto combo, all you gotta do is 5L 5M, jump cancel medium light, jump cancel lot, and hit them into your assist. And then if you only have one assist, then you just send in the medium rocket kick and go, or the medium knee drop into OTG grab. If you have both assists, you can end in this, you know, and get this just for a little extra meter and damage and still get the grab. So, you know, he's not really reliant on having both assists available to get OD damage, but you know, it's just an extra thing. So one of the last things you can do with assists, and this varies from assist to assist, some assists just flat out can't do this, like Z-Broly A, I don't think Goku A allows for it, is you can actually do his loops mid-screen. And this is for 21 players, right, specifically. This works with Keffel players as well, and I've seen Base Ku do it as well. There's a video out there, I'll try to link it in the description if I remember, of someone explaining how to do these with different assists. But here's one I found with 21 that you can do that's not really the hardest in the world. There you go. The rhythm is the same as doing his J2H loops, so keep that in mind. The key to getting these to land, and this is more so like if you're labbing this, see if your team can do it. The key to getting this to land is to have enough dash momentum. You want to have to stay about this much on the ground. You want to have that much distance to get the dash jump. Any less, and you won't have the momentum to do the loops. It'll drop after the first key blast. So keep that in mind. And lastly, before I wrap up the video, is that you can also do these off of 2H if you have the right assists. There we go. It's a bit of the same combo as Midscreen, except the only difference is that since you use your sliding knockdown there off of the 2H into this, you have to use this level 1 if you want to keep SKD. If you don't mind, then you can just go into this and into this and have a soft knockdown reset. So that's it for this video and the guide series as a whole. I might make future guides depending on if you guys want to see them. The only other characters I really played to a certain extent to where I might consider doing it would be characters like Cell, Super Baby 2, Blue Vegeta maybe, Trunks, and that's about it. I haven't really touched the rest of the roster for the most part. 21 even would be good, and Kefla. But yeah, I haven't really messed with the rest of the roster, but I haven't also haven't played them enough to the point where I feel like making a guide on them would be necessary, since I don't know a whole lot about those characters outside of the basics. But if y'all would like one of those, then, you know, let me know in the comments. That's it for the guide series as a whole for now. If this guide helped you, or if you know anything else that you would like for other people to see, please leave it in the comment section below. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.